Many years, we've tried to figure out how we can make sure that there's not a conflict between people's jobs and their health, whether that's what they're exposed to or what their industries make. We want to look at in green chemistry is be able to look at how green chemistry and green jobs may relate to you and to your job, to your industry, and potentially to your future.
But nothing is going to change without the involvement of the labor movement, without the leadership of the labor movement, working in alliance with other social movements. There is an opportunity that has opened for us to fundamentally change the way chemicals, the industrial chemical system operates, and the way chemicals are designed and workers are protected. Since about 1989, the U.S. has really lost its place of leadership globally in environmental and public health policy. Companies were paying $7 to $10 managing every $1 of chemical that they were purchasing. And those costs were in worker protections, hazardous waste, storage, handling, and so forth. And once they realized that they were, in some cases, 10 times, the costs were 10 times over handling hexane, for example, and protecting your workers from that, they suddenly became motivated to find safer alternatives. There are about 82,000 chemicals in commercial use, and of course millions of products in which those are then introduced into. There are about 3,000 that are high production volume chemicals, those that are imported or produced at more than 1 million pounds per year. And there are about 1,000 new industrial chemicals introduced into the market each year.
I've heard from people about the anxiety and fear of living literally on top of that pollution. And I've heard what it's like to watch family members, neighbors, co-workers, and their children become gravely ill with diseases that may be linked to pollution and chemical exposure, but nobody knows for sure. Tiny amounts of these chemicals can, depending on the timing of exposure, cause health problems that may be irreversible and can affect an individual throughout their lifetime and also affect their children and their children.
What is it that we want? What do we need to do? We need to change course from a toxic material economy to green chemistry. Green chemistry being the design of chemical products and processes to reduce or eliminate substances hazardous to human health and the environment, with emphasis on at the point of design, not out at the end of the pipe where we're trying to capture pollutants at the pipe or protecting workers with PPE and so forth, but actually as much as we can at the design point.
Started learning about what's called design for the environment, green chemistry, and green engineering, thinking about how we can try to solve these problems, not at the end of the pipe, not after they've occurred, not by sticking scrubbers on things and retrofitting factories so that you can capture the effluent, but by designing products that are environmentally benign at every stage of production and therefore of use and into recycling and materials recovery. The other thing that really struck me is what a lengthy, arduous, often politically fraught process it is to set these safety standards.
Environmental legislation and the growth of green chemistry patenting has slowed significantly, right? No surprise. Laws actually have an effect on companies, particularly when there are penalties.
We currently deal with chemical security through guns, guards, and gates rather than by redesigning materials. Protective measures against hazards can and will fail, and when they fail, risk goes to the maximum. And unfortunately, those accidents happen, and they happen far too often.